In the untouched wilderness of Alaska, where towering pines meet snow-dusted mountains, a man named Daniel set out on what he thought would be the adventure of a lifetime. It was late August, the air crisp, the rivers swollen with salmon runs, and the forest alive with sounds of birds and rustling leaves. Daniel, a seasoned backpacker, had prepared for everything: maps, food supplies, even a small emergency kit. But there's one truth every wilderness traveler must remember. No matter how prepared you are, nature always has the final word. Daniel's journey began quietly. He followed a narrow trail, the crunch of gravel beneath his boots echoing through the silence. The solitude filled him with peace. Every breath of mountain air felt fresh, invigorating. But this calm would soon shatter. As he hiked deeper into the valley, Daniel noticed overturned rocks and claw marks scratched into tree trunks. At first, he dismissed them as old signs of wildlife. But anyone who knows the wilderness knows better. Claw marks are warnings, territorial markers, signs that a grizzly bear calls this land its own. The sun was dipping lower, casting long shadows across the trail. Daniel paused, sipping water, when a sudden rustle erupted from the brush. His pulse quickened. He scanned the trees, eyes searching for movement. Then, from the edge of the forest, it appeared. A massive grizzly bear. Its sheer size was staggering. Over 600 pounds of raw muscle, thick fur bristling, shoulders rising like a mountain. The bear's nose lifted, sniffing the air, and then its eyes locked onto Daniel. For a frozen moment, man and beast stared at each other. Daniel's instincts screamed to run, but he remembered, you can't outrun a grizzly. They can sprint faster than a racehorse. The bear let out a low growl, a sound that rumbled through the ground itself. It lowered its head and began to move forward. Each step deliberate, each step closer. Daniel tried to stay calm. He raised his arms, making himself look larger, and spoke in a steady voice. Easy, easy now. It's what wilderness guides recommend. Talk calmly, don't make sudden moves. But the grizzly wasn't backing down. Suddenly the bear charged. The earth shook beneath Daniel's boots as the grizzly closed the distance in seconds. He barely had time to react before it struck, knocking him to the ground. The weight of the animal crushed the air from his lungs. Claws ripped into his backpack, shredding fabric like paper. The roar was deafening, primal, a sound that drove pure fear through his body. Daniel fought with every ounce of strength. He threw his arms over his head, protecting his neck. The bear's hot breath was in his face, its teeth snapping inches away. He thought of his family, of whether he'd live to see another sunrise. In that terrifying moment, time slowed, and survival became his only focus. Then, instinct took over. Daniel went limp, playing dead. It's a last resort tactic, one often taught in bear safety courses. If a grizzly believes the threat is neutralized, sometimes it will stop the attack. The minutes dragged like hours. The bear pawed at him, pressed its weight down, and finally, with a snort, backed away. It circled once more, then lumbered back into the trees, leaving Daniel bloodied, shaken, but alive. When the forest fell silent again, Daniel lay still, heart pounding in his ears. He couldn't believe it. He had survived a grizzly attack. Rescue teams later confirmed what likely triggered the encounter. Late summer is a critical feeding season for grizzlies. They gorge on salmon and berries to prepare for hibernation. Daniel had unknowingly hiked into a prime feeding ground, and the bear's aggression was less about hunting and more about defending its territory. The scars Daniel carries today are more than physical. They are a constant reminder of the thin line between adventure and survival in the wild. But his story is also a lesson. Grizzlies are not monsters. They are powerful, instinct-driven creatures fighting to survive in a shrinking habitat. Encounters like Daniel's remind us why respecting wildlife and their space is not just important, it's life-saving. The Alaskan wilderness remains breathtaking, but it also remains untamed. For every traveler who ventures into it, the rule is simple. You are only a guest in the home of giants. And sometimes those giants demand to be remembered.